day, especially with Toby Lowell not available for today's game for the Hokies.
Yeah, that's 15 points, 12 rebounds a game. That is a giant loss for the Hokies. He has a foot in a boot. He's been battling a lingering lower body injury and not available today. Right out of the gate, Ben Hammond, his replacement, will misfire on a three, and it goes back over to St. Mary's. So we were just told this about a half hour before the game. Lawal has been fighting this. I mean, he has been a dunking force. That vertical leap that the guys were talking about last night, 49.5 inches. He can go right through the ceiling, but not today.
Yeah, not today. One of the most explosive, springy athletes in the ACC this year is going to sit this one out.
Lewis kicks it out. Morauskas will give it up. Morauskas comes in averaging 19 and 7. Yale's with a lot of weapons. This guy has a big box of tools, a reach and a foul with 5 on the shot clock.
Yeah, I say whoa because Virginia Tech sending an early message. We're going to double team you on that first or second bounce of the ball. Talking about Morauskas, but you don't compound great effort with fouling.
So Joshua Dent to put it in. Sophomore from Australia. That pipeline continues for Randy Bennett. Morauskas in close. Can't get that first one to go, but it's right back up and in by McKeever.
He grabs 1 out of every 4 misses on the offensive glass when he's on the floor. One of the leading offensive rebound percentage guys in college ball.
Keep an eye on that Virginia Tech starting lineup. Amani Hansberry with 16 points a game. He was held to 10 by Colorado State. That was a real dogfight down the stretch.
We've had several dogfights here in the ballroom the last couple of days.
Bedford stepping back. Through with a long one. Rebound will not be up and good. And here comes St. Mary's on the run, and Lewis is their top scorer. He's already had a 28-point game against Chattanooga. He can be very explosive. Spent some time out of the lineup last night with a lower body issue. Here's McKeever. 9 points, 11 rebounds a game. Gets in close, and man, that is going to be very tough for them to contain today.
Yeah, if you don't come and double him, I think you're asking for big numbers from McKeever. He's just too big, too strong. All up 7'3", 285.
The feet in the paint. Hansberry, no. Well, got the shot he wanted, could not hit it. St. Mary's looking to take advantage of their size. They are in the early minutes. Here's Lewis feeding the big. McKeever with the bounce. Back to him. Puts that to the deck. 4-0 St. Mary's. Hawk will drive that one and lay it in. Roy Hawk, the freshman.
Good job by St. Mary's to open up the middle of the lane and drag McKeever away from the rim. Take away his help defender. Easy layup for the Gales.
Hawk has actually been with the Gales since 2022, but he's barely played. But 25 minutes yesterday. He's played in every game this season. Johnson lets fly from the corner, but no.
And they only come in, Virginia Tech making 8 threes a game at 35%. Not necessarily their strength offensively.
Lewis got a pretty good look. The way he shoots him, too. He's at 20 for 39 before today. Stay right here.
That lack of size for Virginia Tech is going to be tested in this ball game. McKeever just pounds away. He's got such a strong foundation base and just literally backs you down to that 2-foot mark and makes layups. And that's the next possession. They bring McKeever away from the rim as a dribble handoff guy. He's very skilled, OB, for a 7'3", 285-pound guy as a passer.
Swish right on the money by Lewis, 2-pointer. And a quick start for the Gales here. 8-0 over the Hokies.
St. Mary's an interesting team. The adjusted tempo, number 337 in the country, says they play slow. But the reason is they're so good defensively, they put you in long possessions.
Hansberry with a quick shot, being down 8-0. Morauskas, a guy, can really handle the ball as well. 6'8" from Lithuania. Lewis could be a real handful today. This for most teams. Just don't put him at the line because he never misses. Picked off by Hammond. He stepped in front of the pass intended for Lewis. And they'll lay it in. And the Hokies at last on the board.
A great read by Hammond because he knew we're double teaming that basketball. There's going to be a high helium pass. Easy to run through. Well done by 3 and White.
Dent will loft one up there. He had gone 0 for 6 yesterday from three-point land. Dallas outside for Johnson. Well, got an excellent look. Couldn't cash in.
You got to make some of those because St. Mary's, they just throw up a big red wall at that rim with McKeever. They take away a lot of those easy twos. You've got to make them pay with some jump shots.
Rauskas loves to do this. Back it in, spin, and bank it in. He can own you like that.
He can own you. He does love to do it, but that's just too easy, man. You cannot get that high on that inside shoulder and allow the easy reverse pivot. St. Mary's doing damage, man, inside to start this game. Setting the rules.
Now Dallas. Here's Hammond. He came in averaging 8 points a game. Good shooter. Tyler Johnson, offensive foul.
Good call. They square you up, St. Mary's does. A very solid, sound defensive club.
2 already on Johnson. ESPN.
Pounded inside. They put you in long offensive possession because of how solid they are defensively. And I thought the demonstration by Kanala was just spot on. Spot on.
McKeever, another touch. Gerdak at 6'10" now into the game for the Hokies to try and guard him. That's going to be a tough task for anybody.
Obi, it's too much size right now in this game for Virginia Tech to handle. They're going to have to find some way to speed up the game, disrupt the game, keep St. Mary's out of this ground and pound you attack.
Keeper with 6 in the early going. Back outside for Schutz. Can't get off a three-pointer. Dallas trying to get involved offensively. They're going to need him desperately. Hansberry in a second chance now for the Hokies. Virginia Tech 0 for 6 from 3 right away. That's a big reason that Jaden Schutz in the game. Hansberry trying to control that high dribble, but can't hit the shot.
Yeah, just another tough 2 forced by the team in red.
Second time in a row that St. Mary's has started the season 7-0. Under Randy Bennett. A little touch there by Lewis. Took a hit, but no whistle. Jaden Schutz came here 13 for 26 beyond the 3. Just 1 for 7 against Colorado State yesterday. And on the dish, they'll drop it downstairs for Hansberry. Comes in at 16 points and 8 rebounds a game.
A good scoring cut by Hansberry. If you're Virginia Tech, you've got to find a way to spread that St. Mary's defense out. And can you drag McKeever, number 45 in red, away from the rim and give you some type of chance to finish?
Hokies with a foul. Randy Bennett, 7-time West Coast Conference Coach of the Year. Tremendously successful in beautiful Moraga, California. 569 wins on the West Coast Conference last year. He finished no worse than second place 18 out of 22 seasons.
Well, they develop players is what they do. They're not huge in the transfer portal. You can go buy players. You can't buy culture. You can't buy togetherness, and you can't buy toughness. And that's what St. Mary's is built on and why they're so good year after year.
White Dent penetrating. Couldn't finish on the layup. And Hammond quickly off to shoot.
Yeah, can you score in transition before this defense gets set?
And a whistle here with 13 minutes to go in the first half. And a close look at Mike Young, year number 7. Last season, his first losing year in Blacksburg, finishing 9th in the ACC. Hopes are very high for a big reversal for the Hokie program. He has a lot of good players in his roster.
Yeah, they struggled to score last year. They only averaged 69 points a game, so high turnover team as well. Not this year, but better players, better depth.
Dorn in close, can't follow his own miss. The score's been stuck here for a while after the Gales got off to the hot start. Dent using the screen by Wessels, another 7-footer inside. Again misses a lay-in. Wessels trying to go over the shoulder. Great job to keep that alive. Rauskas will feed for the corner. Hawk with a drive. No. Boy, Wessels took quite a tumble as he got knocked to the deck. And when a guy that size, 7'1", hits the deck, everybody in the building hears it.
You felt the floor shake. You're sitting courtside. But this is the effort and the toughness that St. Mary's plays with over the years. That's why they've gone to 4 straight NCAAs. As much of a winning program as we have in the college game year after year.
Whistles back out high for the point guard Dent. And that's going to be deflected off the Hokies. With 12 on the shot clock.
1 of 5, I believe, right? Australians on the floor in the lineup for St. Mary's this year. A pipeline that Randy Bennett has had.
Yeah. Patty Mills, Matthew Dellavedova, others who've contributed. Morauskas from Lithuania will back it away. Shot clock now down to 4. Dent gets a look at it, lost the handle, and it's batted away, and the shot clock expired anyway.
Terrific defense by Hansberry because he got switched off into a smaller, what they thought was a quicker guard. He had no part of it. He stayed square and he stayed low. And a big-time defensive stop individually.
For that, yeah,
a little.
You're right. I need to. But, you know, I will say this. Our crew, our ESPN crew here, covering all of these games as part of Feast Week in the Bahamas, we want to say thank you, for giving up your holiday, the great work that everybody is doing in all facets of our shows. Thank you so much. You're the best. Hansberry with a dribble down and banks it in.
Pat Lowry and her crew have led the charge here. All the production part of it, but a lot of joy, a lot of gratitude being here this week, and we certainly appreciate everyone that's helping us behind the scenes.
Always a pleasure to be with you, my friend.
Yeah.
And with the great Tom McNeely who's producing us, and a whistle and a foul on shoot with 11.5 to go in the opening half. Now one of these teams is going to have a loss for the first time in the early season. Vanderbilt playing their way with a great second half against VCU into the championship game. Mike Young at 6-0, Randy Bennett 7-0.
But you think about St. Mary's, the 10 returning guys, but they lost 4 starters off a 17-1 WCC title team. It's the player development. They recruit to their system really well, and they play hard.
Morauskas with a turnover.
Abdallah's got to get going here. Virginia Tech needs his offense.
Hansberry straight on, around and out. Looked good coming off the hand.
It did.
St. Mary's has gone almost 4 minutes without scoring. Won't score here either. Abdallah will get 3-on-1 and a blocking foul as Hansberry takes the hit. WWE Survivor Series Thanksgiving week tradition. War Games returning Saturday. A stacked card highlighted by the main event. 5-on-5 locked. 2-ring steel cage match. And lots more coverage at 7 streaming on the ESPN app with the unlimited plan.
Look at Imani Hansberry on that free throw strike right now. Illinois, West Virginia, and now Virginia Tech. Former Maryland High School Player of the Year, but Mike Young says he's the best connector, the guy that just, if a play breaks down, we can get him the ball and he can keep the possession alive. He can go make a play. Kind of an undersized, 6'8", 240-pound, jack-of-all-trades dude.
Opened the season with back-to-back double-doubles at 19 and 13 against the College of Charleston. So he can fill the stat sheet. He'll step aside for a breather. And Tyler Johnson back on for Mike Young.
But for Virginia Tech, you've got to have great first shot defense. You cannot allow the size of St. Mary's to climb on that offensive glass.
Lewis denied downstairs. St. Mary's needs somebody to start to get the ball through the basket. McKeever with the dish downstairs, knocked away. And the Hokies with a lot of deflections all of a sudden, getting their hands on the basketball.
Abdallah is the play starter and the playmaker. A 6'9" with the ball right now.
Bucket, swish that one in. Leo Abdallah, the freshman from Greece.
They need his playmaking, the Hokies do today, and they need his scoring. There will not be anything given easy against St. Mary's.
Trying to make a move, airborne, and And gets it to go.
That's a hard play to stop because the ball screen guy is 7'3", 285. You've got to make sure he doesn't roam free. So you take him away and you don't delete the drive. It's a real problem. That's a foul.
It will indeed be around midcourt on Shaw. 9:41 to go in the half.
Look at Abdallah. Keeps that dribble alive in a tight space. And he's all of 6'9", but he makes plays over the top of defense. And that's that ball screen I'm talking about with McKeever. He's such a load coming down the middle. You got to keep a body near him. And if you do, you're not stopping the basketball overall. That middle ball screen for St. Mary's, very difficult to handle.
Abdallah's getting a rest as well on Coach Young's bench. 14-9. 12 points in the paint. Most of those really early, though, for the Gales. Hammond played 27 minutes in round one, and he'll knock that down. At 9 points in their round one victory. It's 4 today.
Oh, but you've got to make some pull-up jump shots against that St. Mary's drop coverage. They're going to give it to you. You got to take them and make it.
Now the scoop shot on a hard drive by Dylan Shaw, the freshman from Northridge, California. Ranked the number 10 freshman in the state of California.
And one of the highest high school ranked kids that Vandy Bennett's ever signed at St. Mary's.
Yeah, top 100 nationally. Bedford jitterbugging inside with the fall away. Can't get that to go, but the rebound comes free. Gerdak right back up. No. Wins it again. Blocked by McKeever.
It's hard to shot fake a 7'3" guy out of the play.
Smothered that one. And Lewis will get it back downstairs.
What a pass. I'm telling you, for a 7'3" guy, he's got a feel and a knack.
Good ball movement here by the Gales, and knocked down once again by Shaw.
Obi, but it all starts with McKeever, man, keeping that ball alive. It does not get stuck. That ball came to him, and he immediately got that ball to the backside and got the defense in rotation.
St. Mary's back on top by 8 in the semifinal. And in the bounce and a kick. Back to McKeever.
He does so many things so well for a guy that was really not recruited at all out of high school. But look at this, a left-handed pass right down the gut cut. But what it does, it gets Virginia Tech in a defensive rotation. That's when good things happen for your offense.
And Shaw knocking it down. Bedford using the screen. Shoot, will fire, got hit in the act of attempting a three. Jaden Shoot, 6'5" junior out of Illinois. And a foul on the play by Mikey Lewis will be his first.
He should be number 3, Jaden Shoot. That way the back of his jersey would say Shoot 3, because that's what he does.
He comes off the bench shooting it.
And 33 of his 41 shots on the year are from the three-point line.
Transferred from Duke 2 years ago from the Blacksburg, and had another one coming. His foul was shooting a three-pointer. Hansberry back on after a breather now for Coach Young.
And you know me, I'm not a big proponent of cursing, but if you're a coach and your guy fouls a three-point shooter, it might be okay to let one slip.
But you would drop a 40-pound hammer on your toe and you would not curse.
Yeah, but if I'm coaching my guy fouls a three-point shooter, test me. It can happen. Backcourt.
Yeah, it's a backcourt violation and a sloppy play for St. Mary's. They've turned it over 6 times. And are under 8.
One thing that really helps Virginia Tech, OB, they've only turned it over 1 time. They are tops in the country, right there in the top 3 or 4. They only turn it over on 10% of their total possessions. So they're getting pounded on the glass, but they're making up for it by not turning the ball over.
Yeah, Mike said a real weakness of the team last year. Hansberry lofting that one up there, just not hitting anything beyond the three-point line. They're 0 for 8.
St. Mary's has doubled up Virginia Tech on the board, 16-8 in this game. That could become a really big number to overcome.
Dent looking for a cutter or a big man. Shot clock sitting at 10 now for the Gales. Dent to drive it, took a bump, and he's off to the line.
Smart play by Dent. They go high ball, middle ball screen, and Dent reads the drop defender. And that drop defender is about in the middle of the lane waiting on him when he comes off right here. Look at 77, Antonio Dorn. He's going to go to drop coverage, drop, boom, but doesn't drop quick enough and opens up his hips as well. And then does a good job of getting right into the chest, getting himself to the free throw line.
And that's the first one he's missed this season.
Wow.
He had gone 28 for 28. And you and I both held our tongue before he went to the line.
Did.
So there's no announcer jinx on that, but obviously a great foul shooter.
Wasn't the record 31 out of 31? Someone
I believe
told us?
so. They started the season as a team 30 for 30. So it's a great free throw shooting team. Dent with his second. On the money on that one.
And he starts a new streak.
So St. Mary's up by 6, and the Hokies with the basketball in our second semifinal. Here's Bedford. 53% beyond the three, trying to get in close. Hansberry, big rebound. Kicks it back out. Adalis won't shoot it.
I think Abdallah's got to get more aggressive in this game, this kid with the ball.
Trying to do it right here, but short with the triple. Dent again outside the three. Over the shoulder, Morauskas with the shot clock to 11. Trying to get a little bit closer here. Working into the corner, and the long one swished in. Campbell, the freshman out of Idaho, wears the number 33 because he loved Larry Bird.
He grew up as a Larry Bird fan, and Virginia Tech really loaded to the ball side of the floor and just left him completely uncovered.
Dallas will take a shove. I'll tell you what, if you're going to wear that number, you better be able to shoot.
Make a three, and you better play hard. And this is what Campbell's a shooter, but when you watch his film overall, he comes in and he plays his tail off now with a ton of energy and effort. That's the first thing you got to understand when he checks in. But you load to the ball against St. Mary's because they're so big and tall in the perimeter. They get a lot of skip passes to that backside.
Bedford. Oh, man.
Ouch.
Campbell got a knock in the face. He took a shot. Richard right underneath. Can't get that one to go. And they're going to stop play for a moment here for Campbell. He took a whack, inadvertent.
He kind of speaks to the St. Mary's way. He was actually, you see him get whacked right somewhere in there. But Liam Campbell was a top 100 kid out of high school. He goes to St. Mary's. He redshirts as a freshman, just buys into the culture and how we do things. I think it's right here. Yeah, Bedford's following through with a pass and just clips him hard right across the bridge of the nose.
Incidental. KB Burdett, Eric Lewis, and Vlad Tato are officials here.
Liam Campbell's nose would disagree that it's incidental to you.
So Lewis back on for him.
Good find.
Morauskas straight on. Oh, he got an excellent opportunity there, but couldn't hit it. Bedford's going to launch one up there. No, one and done. They are 0 for 11 beyond that three-point line. Virginia Tech.
Well, you're dealing with just a lot of different ball screens against St. Mary's within the possession.
Meanwhile, the Gales continue to knock them down. And out of the corner, Dylan Shaw, who came in 7 for 17 beyond the three-point line. He has 8 points. And St. Mary's again springing to life offensively, leading at 26-14.
Well, B, I'm going to throw some terminology out here for St. Mary's offense. You're going to see a lot of ball screen action, Spain action, double stack, drags, double drags. But it's all a bunch of screens on the ball, different angles, different ways to do it. And they keep the corners filled with shooters. It's a simple offensive philosophy. It's hard to guard, and they execute it at a high level. Just different ways to move McKeever and guys around. On-ball screens, making plays out of it. Really well done, too.
With the foul. And that's why, going to practice with you is you love the terminology, and you're into it knee-deep. Jay Billis is the same way. Going to practice with you guys, Corey Alexander, you love that stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting what certain coaches call the same action. They have different names for it, but it's all good stuff. But that on-ball screen is so prevalent in the college game these days. You can't guard it, you can't win.
Kevin Brown and I, meanwhile, the other play-by-play guy in this tournament, we were eating popcorn during those practices and waiting for you guys to come back with all the terminology.
Yeah, drinking the medicine balls. Kevin Brown turned me on to a medicine ball yesterday, 2 days ago. Now it's my favorite drink.
Not sure that was a good thing.
No, it wasn't, but I've done worse.
Approaching 4.5 minutes to go here in the first half. And the Gales trying to settle in offensively.
There it was again. That time it's Wessels away from the floor, literally camping on the three-point line, setting multiple on-ball actions, ball screens, diving out of it, double drags.
So Wessels to the line, and he'll be shooting a 1-and-1 here. 7-1 from Beddington, West Australia. One of the 2 7-footers here for the Gales. And an unfriendly rim there.
He's a kid that zero starts until his senior year. Just bought into the culture and the foundation and how our house is built at St. Mary's. Just get better, and he has.
Asbury on the run will draw the foul. And St. Mary's bringing 10 players back from an NCAA tournament team. The developmental style of Randy Bennett, and there's Mike Young, who's always up pacing, off and down in a defensive stance. Randy more professorial. Very calm presence. Both these guys just terrific coaches.
Well, they're married to how they play. They don't date how they play. They are all in on fundamentals, the type of kid that they go after, who fits their system. And Mike stumbled a little bit last year because of injuries, couldn't shoot the ball well, turned it over too much, but pretty much has built Virginia Tech into a consistent winner. 2 NCAAs, I believe, a couple of NITs in his first 6 years. Those that know ball know that Mike Young can coach as well as anyone, but you got to have dudes, and he'll be the first to tell you, I got better players this year to start with. It all starts there.
They've cleaned up a number of things. That's a big reason they are perfect at 6-0. Coming into play today. Dent dumps it off. Morauskas outside. Another good look for him. That one doesn't drop.
They got away with one because Virginia Tech, came off of a shooter to tag the roller, left the shooter wide open, just missed one.
Dallas.
He can't go by anybody in this game. Dallas
gives up a dribble. They're going to swing it outside for the long jump shot, and nice touch there by Ben Hammond.
An awkward rotation on the basketball by Hammond, but it goes in.
So for the first time they hit a triple. They're 1 for 13. 26-18 St. Mary's. Dent will fire it outside. Shaw wants to go inside. Big rebound. Wessels gets hammered. So 3:04 to go here in the opening half. In Paradise, ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's and by Marriott Bonvoy.
favorite is Sebastian, who has now kind of been retired. I think he's in his high 20s.
I remember Sebastian.
So, yeah, Sebastian. So he's not really coming out much to socialize. I got to see him from a distance, but I've made some of my closest friends over the years here in Atlantis.
Well, here Sebastian is a bad flipper, so kind of on the shelf.
Yeah.
Tough to hear. 27-18.
If you're Virginia Tech, you've gotten off 13 3-point shots in this game. You've got to make some.
And that's going to go the other way. That's going to be St. Mary's ball. Dallas having all sorts of trouble doing what Seth and you have implored him to do, become more aggressive and more a part of it, but couldn't handle it.
Obi, the game gets hard, and Seth's going to agree with me. When you can't go by your guy, the game gets hard. And watch a lot of film on Abdallas. He's very skilled, very talented, a great playmaker, but boy, the quickness right now is probably one area. If you're a scout, you're thinking, can he really go by his guy at the next level? In this game so far, he has not been able to.
McKeever on the back down. To his right. In and out. Hansberry with the board to trigger the break here for the Hokies. Trying to cut into this deficit right before halftime on Paradise Island, and a nice touch there by Hammond.
You got to keep doing that. You don't want to go 40 minutes against St. Mary's with their set defense. I like the aggressiveness by Hammond to make a play before those 5 guys in red get set.
Again, switching directions and a pretty play.
He is a tough layup maker. You watch him on film. He can do it from both sides outside the lane with the release.
He and Mikey Lewis, roommates of Dallas. Listen, thought he got touched. He's pleading for a whistle, but no foul call. They'll get a second chance. High off the window, will not drop. And Morauskas there for the rebound. Tore down 9 against Wichita State yesterday, along with 20 points.
Virginia Tech hitting McKeever early, not letting him just go down to that low block and post up.
Polis Morauskas gives it up for Dent. The shot clock down to 8. He'll take the knock. And he is headed for the line at 1:18 before halftime of the semifinal. In the championship game, the number 24 Vanderbilt Commodores safely in after an impressive victory over VCU earlier today, 89-74. So waiting the winner of Virginia Tech and St. Mary's. Morauskas shooting 2. 78% at the line.
The West Coast Conference newcomer of the year after transferring from Arizona. Morauskas played 3 years in the LKL League, the top league in Lithuania. Played a lot of ball. And he's kind of a mismatch problem. He'll play out on the perimeter, but on that last possession, in-run ball screen offense, they'll let him dive to that low block. He's crafty enough to get to the free throw line a lot.
St. Mary's makes their foul shots. 31-20.
Well, you don't want to foul him. He's shooting at 80% as a team.
So approaching the final minute before the break here in our second semi. Hansberry hold up the dribble, back off of the guard Hammond. 7 to get off a shot. Still driving it. The kick out for Hansberry, a rainbow, and that won't drop.
Great defense by St. Mary's. And they blew up all the ball screens. McKeever was 3 feet taller than the guy driving the ball. Didn't leave his feet, choked off the drive, and forced a tough one up top. Really well done.
Dent off to McKeever. On the block. To the paint with that left hand, and it spins out. Certainly got the shot he wanted.
Yeah. Mike Young wants one shot right now. Take the last one of the half.
Trying to get within 10. They've been chasing the Gales throughout this first half.
Does Hammond need a ball screen to go by his guy up top, or does Mike Young just let him go? A ball screen.
Hammond on McKeever. Decides not to shoot that. Shoots. Just Mike gets it up there and can't hit at the buzzer. So at halftime here in the Bahamas, St. Mary's leads it 31-20 over the Hokies of Virginia Tech. Randy Bennett's got to be very happy with that performance as his team tries to go to 8-0. Zubin Seth, the First Step Stats brought to you by Marriott Bonvoy. And you can see St. Mary's with 16 points in the paint. What doesn't show up there is Virginia Tech is 1 for 15 beyond the three-point line.
Now, St. Mary's typically runs you off that three-point line. They make you make the second or third play within the possession.
Pull-up pop to begin the second half by Bedford won't drop.
You've got to have the right people, OB, taking the right shots against St. Mary's. And Amani Hansberry, a 26% three-point shooter, 0 for 5 from 3 in this game. That's not a recipe for success for the Hokies. It's not.
Dent took a whack, made the shot anyway. So St. Mary's bolsters the lead. This is their biggest of the day at 13 points. Hammond shredding the D. Left it short. Had a layup but couldn't finish.
He's the one guy that has gone by his defender pretty much any time he wants, taking that ball.
Morales barely grazing that iron. We talked about Toby Lawal out of the lineup. 15 points, 12 rebounds a game. Could not play today. His foot's in a boot for Virginia Tech. The giant loss. Nice shot, very difficult shot there by Abdallas. They need him badly.
Well, I think Mike Young probably told him the same thing that we said at halftime. Like, you're our leading scorer. You've played with no force in this first half, and you've got to turn it loose and get us going. He's capable of doing it, but St. Mary's making life heck on him in the first part of this game.
Good job maintaining the dribble, but McKeever wasn't expecting the pass. And a kick ball. Talking about Lawal at 6'8", the senior from London. He's coming off a couple of tremendous performances coming into this tournament, but that's been a lingering injury for him. And overnight, they put him in a boot and unavailable today.
He's such a talented kid. Did not play ball until his junior year of high school. Transferred from VCU to Virginia Tech. Still really developing as a player, but he is explosive. 49-inch vertical from what we've been told. Capable of a double-double. Grew up in the United Kingdom as a soccer player. That's a big loss to Virginia Tech team, especially on the offensive end where they're struggling to find points.
Mike Young says he's the best athlete I've ever coached.
That's saying something.
Dallas on the dribble. Hawk did a good job to pry that one free. Stuck right with him. And now in transition, he gets the ball back, and that's a nice reward for a fine defensive play.
No doubt it is, and that started with Abdallas trying to make something out of nothing. Abdallas trying to make too many plays in the crowd in this game so far with the last turnover.
And we got airborne. How he made the pass, I'm not sure. Hansberry now with 8, and a quick strike on the other end for St. Mary's.
And your post defense in this game for Virginia Tech has to start with hard ball pressure. There was none.
Dallas, Hansberry, a dribble down, went right up and into the 7-footer and drew the foul. So McKeever with the personal is first.
Well, defense gets you out and running. Abdallas just again in a tight space, getting loose with that basketball. And that's not a real speed push by St. Mary's. It's a methodical, well-spaced, well-organized secondary break that gets Hawk all the way to the rim.
So to put Hansberry to the line, he's 82% there. Not a solid one, now 9 points and 6 rebounds. Transfer from West Virginia, where he averaged 10.6 rebounds a game last year.
Dave, I mentioned he was 0 for 5 in the first half from the three-point line. He's a 26% three-point shooter. Sometime there's a reason why you're open. And St. Mary's not getting overstretched, not concerned with Hansberry from distance.
A couple of other guys for the Hokies who need to make theirs.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily relied on from distance. Morales inside the paint. McKeever right to his hands.
Yeah, they double Morales, getting sped up a little bit. McKeever has a great set of paws, but it's hard to handle one from about 8 feet away when you're firing a fastball.
The Gales with 8 turnovers. 37-26 St. Mary's.
Virginia Tech only 3. Mike Young is a great offensive mind, and he hates turnovers, like with a passion.
Dallas, yes.
That's playing with a little more confidence and forcing yourself into the game, which Dallas is capable of doing. He's capable of being their comeback guy, especially without Lawal.
He had 33 against Providence College.
Yeah, no doubt.
So he can really explode. Has 7 so far today. McKeever on a high post. Looking for help from a guard. Back to Lewis.
He's got nothing on a short clock right now.
Launches a long run and all net.
He just goes and gets your basket, does he not? Because they absolutely ran no offense whatsoever. And Mikey Lewis just makes the play off of a high ball screen.
He's really becoming a star this year. Last year as a 6th man. Had that game against Gonzaga in Spokane when he went on for 18 and 18 minutes.
Look at Abdallas. He's very good with a step-back threes. That time he steps into it. The ball screen is kind of a smoke action. And you go underneath Mikey Lewis, he's going to make you pay. He made 58 of them last year at 37%. At a higher clip even this year for Mikey Lewis. 51% coming into today.
Yeah, averaging 19 points a game for Randy Bennett. Go around the back here, one-on-one against Bedford, and a loose ball scooped up by Bedford. He'll draw the foul by Morauskas, who came back to defend. So 15:46 to go.
St. Mary's. So he goes to St. Mary's. He buys in, 10 toes in every day, just getting better and better. With that size, you go back to where Zach Edey was his 2nd year in college for Purdue. A lot of similarities in terms of the size, the skill, the hands, how well he moves. You can do different ball screen coverages with this guy, but he is an absolute wall around that rim and a real force in the WCC this year and beyond.
It's a great comp for him. He was not picked to the preseason All-West Coast Conference team. That might have been a big mistake.
It may have been.
Bedford swishes that one in.
And he helps you defensively because he's big enough to play behind. So he's always in defensive rebounding position. Can push the guy out. Just there's a lot of good things, man, when you got a guy that big.
Touch here, trying to get downstairs. Draws the double. That'll roll off the iron. So he's had a couple of baby hooks like that have not fallen in, but you can tell they want him in that spot every time they can get him there. Bedford swooping inside. Couldn't finish. It comes out high for Abdallas. A jumper from the corner, well short, but a whistle as Bedford couldn't hit the 3.
And we really enjoyed our time with Mike Young a couple of days ago. He's an old school ball coach. Virginia Tech right now is on the uprise in the ACC. They're struggling today, but I love what he said about his 6 pillars of success. I want smart, tough, obsessed, no excuse, everyday skilled guys. And that kind of sums him up, man. He's an everyday guy in terms of the ball coach and how he goes about it. He's got his hands full right now, though, with a really good team from the West Coast.
Shoot with a miss. 3-pointers just not falling for Virginia Tech. We love seeing Mike before games at Blacksburg. He always comes out with popcorn and watches a little of the drills. He's not going to do that anymore. The doctor said no.
Yeah, cut back on the popcorn.
I have a feeling Mrs. Young was the one who said no. Hammond off the iron and tipped out of play.
It would help the Hokies if Hammond can make some of those tough twos because he's going by his guy. He's getting some good looks. They're tough looks, but at least they're open. And without Toby Lawal and Dallas and that 15-point guy struggling offensively, someone has got to step up. Be that 3rd score today for Virginia Tech.
St. Mary's will bring Dylan Shaw, the freshman, back on. Good-looking player. 6'7". He's out to guard Dallas. Trying to get by him. Off a double fake, draws the foul.
Now we did not see enough of that in the first half out of Neo Abdallas. And he gets the freshman on him, an equal-sized guy, and Neo Abdallas goes from 6'9" to about 6 foot. He gets low, drives that ball with a big explosive first step, and then gets under control at the end of the drive to draw the foul.
Shaw with his third. Abdallah 61% at the line, so needs improvement there, the freshman. That one looked awfully good. Terry's Chocolate ESPN Events Invitational. Look at the bracket. BYU, Miami, Georgetown, Dayton coming up at 5 o'clock.
There'll be a lot of NBA eyes got on Neo Abdallas last year at the NBA Draft Combine. And he's got a lot of potential. There's going to be a lot of growth for him as well in the next 3 or 4 months.
Roskus wants to try to get a shot in the air at a very difficult angle, and one and done.
Good job by Virginia Tech. They can just fight, scratching, clawing.
Abdallas getting a touch virtually every time down. Little fall away, no. And he's one and done. Well, they've cut it to within 7. But the Gales back at it, trying to move to 8-0 on the season. Olis Morauskas out of a double. Here's Lewis. Didn't cash in an open jumper. St. Mary's has gone a little cold. Johnson. 13 and a half to go here in the Bahamas, our second semi. Back to Johnson. Yes, and a 3.
It all started with grabbing the paint by Hammond for the kick out, and now you feel the game pressure on St. Mary's for the first time in this ballgame.
7-0 run for the Hokies. They've cut it to 4.
I would put Morauskas on the left block. He went to work last night on that left block time and time again. He hasn't gone there yet today.
Dent going airborne and banks that one in.
Just a tough customer is Dent, man. The game gets tight and you keep the offense simple and get Dent downhill. Grab the paint right here, boom, make the defense respond to it. And when you do, good things happen. Boom, grab the paint, throw behind, and a really well-timed shot by Tyler Johnson to put game pressure on. And there's that Spain action. It's a ball screen up top. You dive the big out of it. You roll the shooter to the top. It's a hard thing to cover, and Dent much under control with the finish and the foul.
So Spain pays off for the man from Australia as he looks for a three-point play. His 7. Foul by Ben Hammond. They put him at the line. He's automatic there, 43-36. Bedford coming back on. Abdallas with a rest. So this has turned into a game with 13 minutes to go. St. Mary's has threatened to run away on several occasions. Hammond, nice deep bounce speed. Dorn will finish that.
Boy, how good was that by Mike Young? His guards do a little bit of an interchange quickly into a ball screen, a little bit of confusion to get downhill. That was big time.
Morauskas some contact, leaning in, and he backed it home.
And back-to-back times, right? St. Mary's has answered a big play with a big play of their own. It was Dent and now Morauskas, but the previous play, well designed by Mike Young. His guards are going to confuse you right there. And as a result, Hammond gets downhill and then finds the slot pass for Dorn going down the left side of the pipe. But the answer, boom. Again, the seal off the Gortat screen is what that's called by McKeever on the inside. He's sealing off Dorn and allowing the layup attempt for his teammate. And that Gortat screen was made famous back in the NBA. Marcin Gortat with playing with John Wall, I believe, just started sealing off guys. It kind of caught on, and that's what you call it. But St. Mary's does it with their bigs about as well as anyone I've seen this year.
Morauskas finishing that off with a three-point play. Well, the Hokies have been able to answer several times down. Bedford sealed off by Dent. Long jumper coming and too strong out of the air from Hammond. And another whistle here. 12:16 to play in our second semi.
Obi Marcin Gortat played 12 years in the NBA, and he was so good at these type of screens. Watch 45 in red. Boom, right here. Seal his guy off and just say, hey, come shoot a layup. He did it time and time again for John Wall. They called Gortat the Polish hammer with the Washington Wizards, but it's really caught on in the college game. I think it's officiated well. If you get buried as a defender, that's on you. And that, man, is it a tough thing to stop with a downhill drive.
Morauskas, by the way, 2 fouls now. Here's Shoot. Got it. He hits a triple.
What does Shoot do? He shoots. And you got to be on the catch. And if he makes a shot, he better be dribbling that basketball if you're St. Mary's.
And it's just 1 for 7 yesterday against Colorado State. They need him here in this semi. Morauskas drawing a couple of defenders every time he touches it pretty much. Here's Dent back inside the lane. Off the fake, spinning right. Short. Keeper kept it alive. Campbell now scrambling for it. Comes to Morauskas. In and out. McKeever with the left-handed rebound.
Didn't even have to jump for the rebound. Didn't have to jump for the putback. And a great job by Morauskas to understand that shot clock was winding down. I got to get one up. Good offenses are built with a built-in offensive rebounder, and that's what St. Mary's does. Good passing by Virginia Tech. The ball moves. Boom. Shoot. With just a little bit of it.
Not much left on the winner's side because Vandy is into the championship game at 1 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN2. So awaiting their foe between Virginia Tech and St. Mary's. A couple of times it's looked like the Gales were going to break away and kind of run and hide. But the Hokies have fought their way back in it.
Well, they have, and you are what you emphasize every day. And it's Virginia Tech, only 4 turnovers in this game, so they're staying in it, although they're losing the rebound battle. And right there, even or even plus, well, the possession battle, because they just take care of the basketball. They're strong with it. They got good spacing. And Mike Young demands it.
Hammond with the drive and kick and swished in by Hansberry.
They made 1 3 in the first half, and now they've made 4 in this second half to cut into this lead.
Hansberry with 13. He averages 16 a game. Dent. Got it inside to the big for 2.
Just get it close to him, right? Just throw it in the vicinity and let his size take over. He's like a high school guy in a 6th grade game when you're sitting courtside.
He was a great rebounder, but the scoring part of it is coming now too. Hansberry gave up the dribble. Hands off for Bedford. Tough shot. Tantalizing up on that rim. And a foul, 10:26 left here in the second half. And Campbell, who took a knock, you can see it underneath that left eye in the first half.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
There's a lot of fight in that Virginia Tech team. I go back to, you may have been calling it, in 2022, the ACC tournament champions beating Coach K at Duke in Coach K's last ACC tournament game. They were the first 7 seed, I think, in the history of the ACC tournament to win it.
Terrific job by Shaw to step in front. Those long arms and pluck that one free. So St. Mary's with it. Joshua Dent running the point, the sophomore. The scoop won't drop right to McKeever. Johnny on the spot.
He's really got to set a soft pause for a guy that big. You don't see him fumble very many rebounds or passes. Vice grips.
14 for him. Hansberry body to body with him. A jumper by Johnson.
Like that. That was not an easy ball to corral for anyone. And then McKeever just controlled it with ease. Just a redshirt sophomore. He's going to just be really something to watch the next 2 years.
Morauskas out for Dent. Good clean look. Couldn't nail it. McKeever got knocked to the deck. That was not easy to do. That usually takes like 4 guys. 9.5 left. And St. Mary's trying to take control of this game. Both teams with an undefeated record on the line. Randy Bennett up against Mike Young. Really good coaches game too. Watching the strategies back and forth. Dorn back in. 52-43. Tyler Johnson will head to the bench.
You mentioned both teams undefeated. What's important about that? How about this? 24 of the last 25 national champions had 1 or 0 losses in all of non-conference.
Morales.
Interesting.
Yes, he'll bury a three.
So
sure is.
Shot by Morales. Yeah, you got to win, man. There's value in winning.
You come to a place like the Bahamas, it's a real feather in your cap, aside from the victories, to come away with a championship. And now Mike Young needs a timeout, because all of a sudden St. Mary's starting to break away again.
When you're behind, you cannot allow a guy to just come through like that. He's a mid-30% three-point shooter, but guys on scholarship can make wide open ones, and mistake made by Hansberry at a crucial time.
His first 3 today. 3 for 9 shooting. You just tell what a good player he is with all of his tricks, and that's going to be a foul by the big McKeever. Trying to keep Hansberry from getting the lay-in, number 2 on the 7-footer. Coming off 13 points, 15 rebounds yesterday in the quarterfinal.
Hey, Obi, I think the other thing that we've seen a lot of good scoring plays out of timeouts from the sidelines or out of bounds under. It's early in the year, so scouting-wise, you haven't seen everything that everybody has. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're a coach, you probably have held some plays knowing, I'm going to save this one for Atlantis. And we've seen multiple coaches do really good stuff coming out of timeouts or off of out of bounds under, and it's early in the season. You can steal some because of that.
Hansberry at the stripe, 82%. 14 points for Amani Hansberry, junior out of Silver Spring, Maryland. And Hawk back in the game now for Randy Bennett. St. Mary's 5 out of 13 beyond the 3. A little more like it for the Gales, who were just 2 for 16 yesterday. Still won their game 70-65 over Wichita State. Hammond will commit the foul as Dent tried to fight through. So he'll pick up the personal.
Just the 4th team foul, so sided out of bounds. Randy Bennett's got it right there in front of his bench.
Dent to run it. Leading in, got it.
Why not? There's nothing speedy about that. That's a very methodical, very St. Mary's-ish like play. Set the ball screen, Dent under control with a tough floater.
Eight and a half to go in this semi. Hansberry with the crossover on McKeever. That's a pretty play.
That's tough, man. He had to get that thing high on that left side of the backboard to get it over McKeever.
Yeah, 6'8" on 7'3".
Doesn't seem fair.
Dent off the screen, back for McKeever. You can't handle that. Loose ball and scooped up by the Hokies. Again, trying to cut in, down 10.
You never throw a 7'3" guy the ball at his knees or lower. Never.
This felt like more of a defensive slugfest. Hammond airborne, but no. And the offensive rebound by Campbell. Campbell off the spin move for 2.
That was just all Liam Campbell, right? Just a little isolation play by Randy Bennett, saying, Liam, I think you can go get us one. Kid took a shot at the no and eyes level. You know he's tough, got a lot of effort. And watch Dent right here, just under control, reads the defense, surveys. McKeever's got all kind of attention on him. And then look at Campbell, the snake move and doesn't give up.
47. St. Mary's getting behind their big man, Andrew McKeever, who has 14. The Hokies need a hot hand.
They do. After we get through Feast Week and the ACC-SEC Challenge, we're going to have a really good idea who the best 12 teams are in the country, and that's where your national champion will be ranked in the Week 6 AP poll. It's amazing how consistent that number has been.
And Jaden Shute making just the 5th 3 today for the Hokies, 5 out of 22, but he has 9. And they've cut it inside 10. And Campbell looking in. Rauskas thought about it. Working that dribble on Hansberry. Short for the whistle. And a foul on Hansberry, his third.
St. Mary's is so strong with the ball. I mean, outside of Lewis, they don't have like a jet guy beating you with speed. They just beat you with strength and leverage and angles. That drive by Morauskas is a very good example of it.
It's a great point because it's not valued everywhere, but so many guys are strong with the basketball, not just your point guard or a couple of other guys, and they really go at you chest to chest.
Yeah, Dent does it, Morauskas does it. Obviously, McKeever, he goes right at you. And Mikey Lewis, for the speed that he brings, he's also a pretty physical driver getting downhill.
I think Campbell's another guy.
No doubt, that's his game, yeah.
Freshman. Morauskas 11. Kind of a quiet game for him thus far, but still almost 7 minutes to go. He's smooth at the line.
Again, St. Mary's, they put you offensively in long offensive possession. So, man, it's tough to come back when you're down double figures with 6 minutes to go. And not impossible, but it is tough.
Hammond able to hang on. Hansberry gives it up to Shoot. His three. Yes.
That's it. That's how you got to do it right there. Shoot got the ball on the move. And he can make threes in multiple ways, much more than a catch and shoot guy.
Comes off the bench, firing it up there. He has a dozen. Rauskas, Lewis. They play a two-man game. Inside, what a pretty play that is.
It's really interesting because last night all his damage was done on the left block, and today coach has him on the right block, but it just shows his versatility. Watch out.
Steps up for the thefts. Going in strong and will lay it down.
He is a very good player. See, now you're talking about the last time out, how good this guy is. Just his overall game, man. He's got a great, not good, a great feel for the game of ball.
Up to 16 points, coming off 20. On the drive, laid in by Hansberry, who's had a really fine game. 18 points.
St. Mary's, Obi, they want to keep the game choked down a little bit. They're going to stay aggressive, but nothing quick. They will not take quick shots trying to close this thing out.
Morauskas wide open, well short.
Not the one Randy Bennett wanted, I promise.
Hammond trying to drive. And he's going to commit a foul here. It's going to be an offensive against Hammond. Mike Young can't believe it, but 5:19 to go, and that clock's beginning to become a factor the way this game has been played. 65-55. We're going to get an illegal screen actually on Johnson. So coming up on the 5-minute mark and a 10-point lead, St. Mary's and the ball. Knocked away by Shoot. Up ahead of the crowd, lays it in.
It's a lazy pass by Dent, one of the few mistakes he's made. That is very uncharacteristic of St. Mary's. They know how to close out games.
Shoot has given the Hokies a jolt of life here.
Shoot, yeah, he has.
Rauskas trying to answer, draws the double. Lewis is free, but short. Shaw will keep it alive for a second chance.
Got a new 20. Use clock right now for St. Mary's. Stay aggressive, but use clock. That's illegal.
That'll go the other way for 37 to go.
And McKeever just, you're big as an ox, so you don't need anything extra. McKeever gets his arms out, just jacks the guy, but that's what I'm talking about. That was just a soft pass by Dent with the left hand. And watch the pick, boom, right there. I mean, that's clearly an illegal screen. They might even look at the monitor. If I'm Mike Young, I'm telling him to, just in case they goes his way of being upgraded to excessive or unnecessary in an F1.
Over and above the fact you're going to feel that contact for about 7 days.
Yes, you are. Watch McKeever. Just get set right there. You're 7 feet 285, and you go to raise your arms up, and I could see this going under the view of that is excessive and unnecessary. That was a hard chuck by McKeever to a defensive player.
I'm not sure he can set a soft screen, but we'll see if they consider this over and above. And if there's anything else on the call. They're just going to call that a common foul. So nothing additional on McKeever.
I would have had no problem either way.
I would agree. The shoot has been cooking. 14 points. Well above his average of 9 per game. And man, he can shoot it. He came into this tournament having taken 26 threes. He had nailed 13 of them before he scuffled yesterday, going 1 for 7 against Colorado State.
He's kind of a hard guy to take off the floor, honestly. I think he led Virginia Tech last year in minutes played. And because of his ability to shoot it, his gravity ability, we've seen his defensive instincts. We got a game now in Atlantis in the second semifinal.
Shoot with a touch. He fires. Around and out. Rebound. Jordan got a hand on it. Kept it alive. It's going to stay on this end as it rolls out of play. So it'll be Hokie ball.
It's that spot I've talked about. If you got some scoring plays you haven't shown yet. Mike Young's got a substitution coming with Tyler Johnson checking back in.
It's the guy that Mike Young calls our glue guy. We want him on the floor. Rebounding, toughness. He said he affects winning.
Obi, you cannot let Shoot come to the ball side of the floor right here. Campbell is top blocking him to keep him from coming to the ball side. So Shoot's got also a chance to just go right down the middle of the lane if he wants.
Dallas back in. Off for Shoot. They leave him open. Can't drain that one. Big rebound. Johnson back up and in.
That's why Mike Young put him in the game. He said, I might need an athlete. I'm going to get it to shoot a shot. If it doesn't go get me one. Big time rebound by Tyler Johnson.
And a 6-point game. At 4 minutes to play. Beaver had it batted right back. Shaw with it.
St. Mary's look shook.
They do. And Dallas will get hit with a personal foul. He could not believe it. 65-59 and a foul on Virginia Tech, his first.
And as you said, Tyler Johnson is the glue guy for Virginia Tech. What do glue guys do? Man, they just keep things together when things get tough. He just went and got it over a long front.
Virginia Tech has cut it to 6.
Sea and sand and good basketball. And how can Virginia Tech, formerly known as the Gobblers, lose on Thanksgiving Day? I don't know. Maybe they can. They're down 6 right now, but you would think vibes are with them.
You would think. And they certainly have been here the last 5 or 6 minutes. They have come to life. Hansberry with 12 points in the second half. So Monty Hansberry's really been a driver. And so has Shoot, who has gone for 11 in the second half. Jaden Shoot, 6'5" junior. And both of them have been the offensive stalwarts to bring them back into this contest.
Well, we think about it. Virginia Tech without Toby Lawal today, Neil Abdallas really hasn't been much of a factor at all. So Hansberry and Shoot have been the 2 guys that said, Coach, that's okay. I got us. There's a big loss right there. What, averaging 15, Lawal?
15 and 12 rebounds. So great presence on the glass. Shaw makes 1 of 2. So the Hokies trailing by 7. Dallas off the dribble. Hammond getting around that screen by Hansberry. Dallas again. They want him touching it. Around the back. Hansberry's open. He couldn't drain it.
Hansberry now 0 for 6 from the 3-point line in this game. The numbers are the numbers.
Dent gave up the dribble. Morauskas. And off the fake, and it's going to be a travel.
Really good job to hold the ground defensively by Tyler Johnson, who's given up a couple of inches and maybe a few pounds as well. Finally, Morauskas goes to that left block where I'm telling you, he just pounded away in their opening game last night. But that time he gets called for the travel.
13 turnovers for the Gales.
Tech cannot have empty possessions right now. It would be at least get yourself to the free throw line.
Dallas over the top, Hansbray off the hand.
And that is an empty possession.
Then can take some time here. Run a little bit of clock for St. Mary's. Sips the pass. Morauskas from the corner. No. Keeper battling, but Dallas won that fight. Banging with Shaw into the lane. And a very quick one and done for the Hokies.
Yeah, now Randy Bennett again, he's going to get it across the timeline and choke this game down. That's what the timeout's going to be. What are we going to do with 2:09 to go? We're up 7. What are we thinking offensively with our possessions, and then defensively? Understand we are not fouling right now. They don't have enough possessions left. If we take care of the ball and don't foul, we're in really good shape.
So 2:09 remaining in a tight one here. Right now, back to the studio.
Talked about it yesterday. Could be the best freshman class we've seen. You could judge it by how many freshmen are taken in the first round. The best mark so far, the top 7 guys were in the freshman class. This could go as deep as 8 or 9. The first 8 or 9 picks in the next draft could be first-year players this year. That's how good this freshman class is.
That's been talked about since well before this season got underway. We have so much discussion about guys like Cooper Flagg last year. There's not nearly the long list of great freshmen we have this year.
No doubt. And but you know what? There's also value in teams that are old. And look at Purdue right now. The TKR and Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith, old guys that are tough. They play together. St. Mary's is an old team. There's also value in that as well. But
St. Mary's with 10 guys back from an NCAA tournament team last year is so rare to have that many. Not for Randy Bennett, though. It's the way he has built his program. Won a lot of games, trying for his 570th win today. As we're chasing Dent. Then we'll give it up. Morauskas got it.
Oh, wow.
Big 3 out of the corner.
What a dagger by Morauskas. How good has he been in this second half?
Showing his skills. Dent with a block. Knocks it out of play.
St. Mary's comes out of the timeout. They trust Dent to make the right decision. He comes off the high ball screen, and as soon as that defender came off that corner side, man, Morauskas, big time shot.
Dallas taking on the big, draws the foul. So McKeever with the personal with 1:39 to go. And St. Mary's with a 10-point lead. Hokies have made a couple of runs here in the second half, but Morauskas and company have had answers. Dallas to the line. And a freshman from Greece to shoot. Coming off 13.6 rebounds against Colorado State. And so this will be 2 shots for Neo Abdalas. And the Hokies running out of time. And makes number 1. Hansbray has played a really fine game, except beyond the 3-point line. Being told we had double technicals, offsetting technicals between Hansbray and Morauskas. And It's our play of the game brought to you by Lodge Cast Iron.
Well, it's going to be Morauskas. But then he really gets knocked out towards that timeline, but he keeps his toughness and his dribble alive. Finds Morauskas. Johnson came on just. Comes off that shooter about a step too far, so therefore the recovery is late and low, and Morauskas sticks a big one.
Eight-point lead here for St. Mary's. Still time for the Hokies. Trying to force a turnover on the pressure into Dent. Hawk will draw the double, and he's walking with it. They do get the turnover.
You can't look at the official right now and say, hey, he fouled me. No, you got to expect the heat to come from Virginia Tech. Strong with the ball, but just not quite strong enough. Maybe there was some contact, maybe not, but you got to know at this point in the game, they are coming at you, and you're trying to split two defenders. And I believe that's the right call by KB Burdett. And Virginia Tech's got life.
So shoot to inbound right in front of his own bench. He has been sizzling. He'll fire again, and he'll hit another one.
Most dangerous guy is the guy that takes it out, especially if it's shoot. And his defender just got lazy and low, just enough time for shoot to come off of it and drill one.
A timeout. The Hokies are down to one more.
Watch shoot. He throws it inbounds. He's acting like he's going down the screen, and just bam, comes right back off of it. And there's a mistake made by Mikey Lewis not staying in the jersey. He goes underneath the screen, which you cannot do on a guy like Shoot, especially at this point in the ball game. Defensive mistake, bam, Virginia Tech with a lot of life with 1:26 to go.
Shoot was 17. He has brought them back from the brink of being knocked out of this game several times with his shooting talent. 17 points, 4 for 7 beyond the three-point line.
In his freshman year at Duke, was a top 50 ESPN ranked kid out of high school, former Illinois high school player of the year. But when he shoots it, you're surprised it doesn't go in. That's how good it looks.
14 in the second half for Schutz. So a 5-point game. The Hokies continue to hang in this thing and give themselves a chance.
Obi, it's going to be a really good win for one of them, because I think both these teams are going to be in that NCAA tournament. You look back on your resume and what did you do in November on a neutral floor. That big time opportunity right now for both St. Mary's and Virginia Tech.
Well, the Hokies just forced a turnover a moment ago in the press.
You've got to want the ball in this situation if you're St. Mary's.
Morauskas looking for somebody, in for Dent. They'll double up on him and spin spree. He got it back. Hokies came very close to another turnover. Now a foul on Johnson.
Boy, Dent was very fortunate, was he not? And that pressure came fast and hot. Dent has it right here, and boom, Tyler Johnson reaches in. Actually, the ball gets dislodged, and Dent fortunate enough to come up with it. Not a lot of contact there. I see why Virginia Tech was off that bench.
Johnson fouls out.
Just kind of an awkward slip that Johnson got involved in. But
so 1:18 to go. A 1-and-1 coming. Hawk at the line. And another man in that pipeline, that so-called Little Australia pipeline for St. Mary's from Townsville, Queensland, Australia, and drops in number one.
He's a 90% free throw shooter you're putting on the line. And you talked about it earlier in the game. You've got to keep St. Mary's off the line. They are, as a team, shooting 80%.
Yeah, comes down to a foul shooting contest. You're not going to beat these guys.
They win.
The second. 71-64, St. Mary's. Number two's got to get a touch. You've got to believe. Hammond. Dallas wants to fire it up there. Can't hit it. St. Mary's with the board. Dent has it knocked away. He's knocked backward. They're going to be on the line. That's going to be St. Mary's ball. Bodies flying everywhere.
There's a lot going on down there, right?
So the guards slow to rise. Some pretty good contact.
Yeah. Gobble till you wobble on Thanksgiving Day. That's exactly what happens here. Man, just all-out fight and effort. Bodies flying around. That's how you're supposed to play the game, right?
It's a rugged last few minutes in the Bahamas. 71-64. Vanderbilt awaits the winner in the championship game of the Battle for Atlantis tomorrow at 1 p.m. on ESPN2. One of these teams is about to lose for the first time this season. Inbounded free and a whistle. And the foul here against Virginia Tech.
And they are lucky, St. Mary's, because Shaw was taking it out of bounds. He turned down a wide open first cutter. Very fortunate not to turn it over. You hit the first guy that comes open when you're facing pressure like this.
Bedford with the foul. Take a look.
I mean, prior to that, the cutter had already gone, was wide open. Dent saying the same thing. Throw it to the first guy. Just a lesson learned for a young kid taking it out. Dylan Shaw, just a freshman.
2 shots here for Dent, best foul shooter on the floor. And for this last minute, anytime they inbounds, he's going to touch it. Only missed 1 foul shot this season and buries another. He has 12 points. So they bolster the lead 73-64. And Campbell, the freshman, back on. Gives you an idea of the confidence Randy Bennett has in him. Hammond will launch one. As we beat everyone in the rebound. Shoot again. No. Comes right to Campbell. Another good foul shooter. Up ahead, Hawk. Ahead of everybody. He'll slam it down with 40 seconds to go. And a quick shot on the other end by Abdallas. Hammond. They're going to call a foul instead before that shot. And that'll go against Virginia Tech. So to the other end we go, and St. Mary's and their fans beginning to celebrate. And time now for our play of the game, brought to you by Barbasol. And Polis Morauskas, the 6A junior, 19.7 rebounds. Took him a little while to get going. Then he started to take over the game.
Yeah, right on his average. He came in averaging 18.6. So between Mikey Lewis and Polis Morauskas, a couple of guys averaging 19 on the year, but they're so well balanced offensively. And I think McKeever was huge in this game. And Randy Bennett, he set the rules of the game early in terms of how we're going to play. And we're going to jackhammer that ball inside, and they did. And as a result, they're going to advance to the finals tomorrow against Vanderbilt.
Morauskas, by the way, with 15 of those 19 in the second half when they really needed him the most. And St. Mary's 77, Virginia Tech 64 with 36 seconds to go. And the Gales making plans to meet Vanderbilt in the championship game of the Battle for Atlantis tomorrow. Dallas leaning in and will
what are we doing?
Draw the foul. Not sure why. By Dylan Shaw.
It's a culture of winning for St. Mary's, Obi. We talked about Randy Bennett in the first half, but St. Mary's has won 77% of their games since 2015. That's the 5th best mark in the nation. They just have a belief and a culture and a 10 toes in mentality. He talked with us on Monday, I believe, about how we build this program and sustain it year after year after year. And it's 10 toes in, and they did it today.
Well, you're talking about an absolutely beautiful school, but a very small school, about 2,000 undergrads in Moraga, California. By the way, if you've never been, you should go. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
In a beautiful part of California. The success that he has had there is pretty amazing. And a great fan base. By the way, their first showdown with Gonzaga is January 31 in Spokane, and I know all their fans already know that.
And that will be something. St. Mary's has kind of owned that a little bit the last couple of years. Gonzaga got knocked all over the place by Michigan last night. I still think Gonzaga is one of the top 10, 12 teams in the country. I'll see them next week against Kentucky in Nashville. But St. Mary's and Gonzaga, once again, two heavyweights out of the West Coast Conference.
Quick update. Let's get it back to Zubin in the studio.
Yeah, I love guys that put in the work, man. They just keep their head down. They don't look to leave and blame somebody and just go in and work on their game. Those are the kind of guys you win with. And that Big 12 this year, BYU, Arizona, Houston, Texas Tech, Kansas, loaded up.
It's going to be a great league. SEC is going to be spectacular again. ACC is going to be very good.
No doubt, yeah.
So final seconds here. St. Mary's in celebration mode, and they earned it today. About to pick up their second win in this tournament. Many expected they would play for the championship. A lot of people thought Vandy would join them. That's our final matchup. Randy Bennett in the win column again, knocking up Mike Young and Virginia Tech. Final score 77-66.
Those two head coaches have a ton of respect for each other. They see the game the same way. They play the game the right way. And we got a dandy tomorrow. Vanderbilt out of the SEC against St. Mary's, who's always a headache by the time you get to March. They're a headache right now in November.
They are. The Gales remaining perfect. Now